Hello everyone, Merry Christmas and welcome back to the Will the Reaper channel. In today's video, I'm going to be determining what Clash Royale cards would want for Christmas. What would they want on their wish list? And I'm going to try to guess what each one of them would want. So I have perfect match, decent match, bad match, and then cards that just can't receive presents like spells, like arrows. They're inanimate objects. You don't know what they'd really want. So yeah, what I want for Christmas is for Supercell to remove heroes and level 16, but that's never gonna happen. So anyway, let's begin. Now skeletons, I don't really know what skeletons would want. I think one thing that'd be really cool to get them for Christmas is that they might want to see like who they are, right? I mean, there's Larry, Barry, Harry, all those people, but maybe like they'd want like a tombstone to see like when they existed or something along those lines. I can't really tell. I'm gonna say like decent match. Actually, probably bad match. I really don't know what skeletons would want. Bomber, I definitely think he'd want like gunpowder or bombs. For the most part. Goblins, they definitely want gold. They would just want piles and piles of gold and wealth. That's a perfect match. I mean, goblins love to plunder. They would definitely want gold. Zap spell can't be included. I think Knight would want like a new suit of armor or a new sword, or maybe a promotion. Maybe like a pay raise. I think those are the things he'd want on his wish list. Archers, I think they would definitely want like new bows and arrows, and probably just some peace and quiet. I'd say that that's a pretty good match. Minions, I don't really know what minions would want. I think they'd probably want Dark Elixir if I had a guess, but I'm not too sure. Arrows, cannon, Tesla, motor cannot be included. Barbarians are simple creatures. Barbarians probably want new swords. They want armor. And they want like meat. If you probably give them like a pile of chicken wings, like gigantic chicken wings, they'd be very content with that. Well, they don't seem like they're content people. They'd probably just be pissed off the next day. But if I had to guess, that's probably what they would want. Minion horde, I don't know, maybe Dark Elixir. Tombstone's a building, so you can't really give it anything. Musketeer probably want a new musket, maybe some new armor. I don't know. I feel like that's what you'd want. Valkyrie. Valkyrie, I think similar to Barbarians. I think if you got her a new axe, maybe some armor, on some food, I think she'd be very content with that. Hog Rider. Hog Rider, I feel like is a guy that would appreciate literally anything you give him. If I had to guess, he'd probably want a new hammer. If you got him like a shiny new hammer made of like gold or diamond or something like that, he'd love that. Maybe some like cool sunglasses for his hog to wear. And maybe like armor for both himself and his hog. I think that would definitely be something that he would want. I think that's like a near perfect match. Mini Pekka pancakes. That's very easy. Mini Pekka wants pancakes. If I got that for Christmas, he'd be so thankful. Fireball can be included. Bomb tower can't really be included as a building. I mean, similarly, the bomber would just want bombs and gunpowder, I assume. Goblin hut. I mean, I give the goblins in there gold, but the building itself can't really want anything. Now, if I had to guess what the giant would want, I think he'd want boxing gloves, right? Because he punches and punches and punches, and I think getting him boxing gloves to protect his knuckles would be a perfect thing for him. Wizard, maybe like a book of spells or something. I don't know. I think if you got him a book of spells, for him to try out, I think he would appreciate that. But I really don't know what he would want. Inferno Tower, Rocket, Elixir Collector, Barbarian Hut, Mirror, Rage Spell are not included. Sorry, everyone. Skeleton Army. I don't know. Maybe they'd want like maybe they want like armor or like new swords or something. Similarly to the skeletons. Actually, because they're an army and their main purpose is to like go to battle, I feel like they would definitely appreciate getting some armor and swords, even if they might not know how to use them. Goblin Barrel is not included. I think Baby Dragon. I don't know. I think Baby Dragon, since he's a baby, maybe if you give him like food or something like that, or like a toy, he would appreciate that. But I really don't know what the Baby Dragon would want for Christmas. But I still say it's a decent match. If you get him like a toy, like a little race car or something, I think he'd be content with that. But I don't know if it's top of his wish list. Free spell can be included. Witch, I think Witch similarly to to the wizard. If I just get her a book of spells, she'd appreciate that. And if I got anything for a skeleton, she would definitely appreciate that. You know, she seems like a motherly person. She might not care about getting a gift herself as much as she would appreciate you getting her children a gift. Uh, Prince, honestly, I think Prince would just want shinier armor, a shinier lance, maybe a cooler pony. But most importantly, if you give him praise, you know, that's probably exactly what he wants. You know, if you got him a new suit of armor, he'd probably love that. Balloon, honestly, I could give him like helium or something to let his balloon inflate. I could also give him bombs and gunpowder, but I'm not too sure. Giant skeleton. What would Giant Skeleton want? Realistically, he has to carry around a bomb. You know what? For Giant Skeleton, I'm going to give him a wheelbarrow. Think about it. He can carry around that bomb no longer on his back. He can finally put it in a wheelbarrow, and he can just not have to break his back every time. You know, I'm sure his back is getting chipped every second he has to hold that bomb. I think that'd be a perfect match. Lightning spell, crossbow cannot be used. Now, Mini Pekka, similarly to the witch, if you got her son, you know, if you got her Mini Pekka pancakes, she'd be very content with that. But for herself, what am I talking about? You get her a little butterfly garden. What am I? Who am I kidding? Mini Pekka loves pancakes. Pekka loves butterflies. Get her a butterfly garden now. That is a perfect match. I don't really know what the golem would want. Um, I really don't know. He's a menace. I have no clue what a golem would want. Royal Giant, probably a new cannon, maybe some armor. I think he would appreciate that a lot. I don't really know too much. Three Musketeers. I mean, it's just a musketeer, but there's three of them. So I think if we have new muskets, new suits of armor, they probably appreciate that. Dark Prince. Okay, Dark Prince isn't as straightforward as a regular Prince. I don't know what he would want. He seems like he'd be pissed off at whatever you got him. Maybe a new shield, a new club that he can use. Maybe some armor for his horse. He might like that. I don't really know too much. Poison spell can be included. Princess. Honestly, if you find the princess a prince, that's not the little prince. I think she would love that. You know, maybe you could like set her up with someone in the kingdom. Either that or maybe just like praise and like a whole basket of arrows, and I'm sure she'd love that. But I think the princess, if you got her a prince that's not an annoying little prince to fall in love with, she'd probably thank you for that. So you gotta do some searching. Ice Wizard. I think if you got him a snow cone or something, he'd be fine. I think if you also got him a book of spells too, he'd probably be content with that. I actually forgot that book of spells were a thing because Supercell had to remove it. So that's an actual in-game item you can give to these characters. Fire Spirit. Oh, I don't know what a Fire Spirit would want. I mean, it's a kid, so he'd probably be happy with whatever you got him. Um, I don't know, maybe Fire Spirit would want like a type of like suit that I think Fire Spirit would want a suit. Like, or at least I would give him a suit that he doesn't completely explode when he touches things. You know, if he has like a little like metal suit, right? So he can just not explode the second he touches something. I think that'd be a good idea. Furnace. I don't know, Furnace would probably want the ability to not like have his kids explode every single second. Or maybe a way to stop making children every single second, so that way they won't die immediately. Um, I don't know, maybe I'll get him vitamins to control that. So yeah, I think if I got him vitamins or something, or found a way to stop him from making children every second, then they would explode. I think he'd appreciate that very much. Yeah, maybe I could ask the wizard to get a spell to make it so that the furnace can make children only whenever um he or she wants to. I think that'd be a perfect gift idea. Guards would probably just want new shields and spears. I assume that's what they would want. Maybe they want other things. I have no clue. Miner, you get him a light, right? Instead of that candle on his helmet, you get him a new helmet, but you also give him the light, the little like beam of light that shoots out of it, and also a new shovel. He would love that very much. Sparky, I really don't know what Sparky would want. No idea. Um, I think, I think Loki Lava Hound. I think giving the Lava Hound like an operation to deliver the children would probably make the Lava Hound very happy. Because think about it, the Lava Hound only gets to see her children when she dies, right? So if you gave her the ability to see her children while still being alive, that'd be the perfect gift for any mother. So I'm gonna give her an operation. I'm gonna pay some doctors. I'm gonna pay that Goblinstein doctor to do the operation for you. Ice Spirit, I don't know. Probably the same thing as Fire Spirit. Probably just want armor to not die immediately. Bowler, I'm going to get him a real bowling ball. I'm going to get him a real bowling ball. I'm going to take him out to a bowling alley. He would love that. Log can be included. Lumberjack, I mean, he's a raging alcoholic. If I give him a bunch of booze, he would be very happy, or a bunch of elixir. He would be very happy with that. That's a perfect match. I don't know what the snow golem would want. I don't know, maybe like a portable fan he could carry with him everywhere so he won't melt and die immediately. I don't know. I don't know what the snow golem would want. Mega Minion, I have no idea. Actually, maybe Mega Minion, new suit of armor, he'd be very appreciative of. Inferno Dragon, maybe a new suit of armor, and probably like a toy or something like that would make him very happy. Yeah. Graveyard spell can't be included. Elite Barbarians, I'd say Elite Barbarians, if you get them a new sword, a new helmet, and like some food, they'd probably be content with that, hopefully. Clone and Tornado are not included. Electro Wizard, again, a book of spells. I don't know, maybe I could get him like, like one of those little balls, right, with the little dot in the middle, and then like when you put your hand on it, it shoots out the electricity everywhere. You know what I'm talking about? It's called like the plasma sphere or something like that. It looks really cool. I think if I got him that, he'd love that. Goblin Gang, they would just want gold and that's it. Just a ton of loot. That's a perfect match. Dark Goblin, since goblins love loot, right? And Dark Goblin is a goblin, I think the Dark Goblin would love just darts, right? So I think darts and loot would be perfect. Battering ram, I really don't know what a battering. I don't know what a battering ram would want. It's an inanimate object. I'm actually gonna put that in not included because if you're talking about the battering ram itself, it's an inanimate object. It can't be included. It's technically a building at that point. Executioner would love a shiny new axe. You get him a gigantic new axe, or instead of having him use an axe, if I got him a little pulley machine, um, I forgot what that's called. A gallow. If I got him a gallow, or one of those things with the lever and you pull it and then the blade comes down itself, he'd probably love that. He probably gets tired of carrying the axe everywhere and going like that. That's a perfect thing to give the executioner. Bats, I don't really know what bats would want. Maybe fruit. I think if you get bats fruit or food, they'd be very content. That's basically all you can give them, actually. But I don't know, maybe they want something else. Heal Spirit, same thing. Probably a suit of armor so that they won't die immediately. Bandit just wants gold upon gold. They're like goblins. Night Witch, similarly to the regular witch. If you got her something, she'd appreciate that. But if you got her Bat's fruit, she'd like love you for that. I think that's a decent gift. Book of spells. Skeleton Barrel, I mean, it's an inanimate object. You don't know what I'd want. Flying Machine. They're inanimate objects. Mega Knight, oh god, I don't even know what Mega Knight would want. Maybe like new maces, if you got him like new shiny maces for hands, or actually I know exactly what he would want. The Mega Knight is a builder that would always get his buildings destroyed. So if you made him like a titanium fortress, or like if you bought him like a little shelter and said like, here you go, or if you put some thought into it, right, instead of buying like a fortress for him, that won't get destroyed. If you like went out and looked at designs of how he used to make his home, if you built that for him, he'd probably like take his armor off and like give you a hug. I think that'd be a perfect match. He'd finally be relieved that he gets to live in his building for a few weeks before he gets destroyed again. Zappies are inanimate objects. I don't know what they would want. They actually, you know what? I feel like they have some feeling to them. I think if you got them a little like plasma ball or something, maybe if you got them a telephone pole to like electrocute all the time, they'd like that. I have no clue. That's a bad match. Barbarian barrel's not included. You don't know what barrel would want. Actually, Sparky, if Sparky's technically inanimate, it's not included. Hunter, I think if you got Hunter a new shotgun, He would love that a lot. I don't know. I don't exactly know. I mean, his shotgun looks pretty expensive. He seems like he knows how to use it. It would take him weeks to get used to the new gun. Royal Ghost. I'm gonna give Royal Ghost. I'm gonna give the wizard a spell to make it so that the Royal Ghost can finally be human again, and that would be the perfect match. I'd have to give the wizard probably a ton of gold to do it. I might have to seek out the witch. Actually, probably witch, because witch is good at necromancy, so she might have the ability to turn people back into humans. If I could get that, if I could give the right price to the witch and she can make the Royal Ghost a human, he would love that. Magic Archer is part of the Bandit Gang, so he just wants gold. Rascals are part of the Forest Gang, they just want gold. Snowball's inanimate. Royal Recruits, I think if you got the new armor and new spears, maybe you get some metal armor instead of just wooden armor. I think they would like that very much. Royal Hogs, they're pigs. I think if you give them shiny new helmets and also a ton of food, they'd be content. I mean, they're swines. They love to eat. If you just give them a ton of food, tons upon tons of food, they would love that very much. Goblin Giant is a goblin. Give him a ton of gold, he'd be content. Electro Dragon. I don't exactly know what the Electro Dragon want. Probably some food, maybe some armor. Probably a little telephone pole that he could electrocute and then electrocutes him back so you could just play I don't know, shock the pole 24/7. I have no clue. Ram Rider. I think Ram Rider would probably want maybe a suit of armor, maybe an upgrade. Maybe we could get her like a little like gun or blow dart or something like that, because swinging the rock around must be so exhausting. She likes projectiles. We could get her like bows and arrows or like a gun or just something like that. We could give her hunter shotgun or something like that. Maybe some armor for the ram too. Skeleton, probably just barrels, honestly. If you just got them new barrels, they'd love that. Earthquake spell can be included. Goblin Cage. The only bit of lore I know from Goblin Cage is that he wound up in the cage to go find his wife. If you find him his wife, or if you free him from his cage, that'd be the perfect Christmas present to give him. Fisherman, get him fishing rods, get him new fish. Get him a bunch of fish to eat, get him, better fishing rods. Hooks, bait, whatever, that'd be perfect. Elixir Golem, I have no clue what he would want. Maybe more elixir, I guess. I don't know. Battle Healer, probably a new sword she'd be content with, I think. Firecracker, I don't want you to get anything for Christmas, but if I had to give you something, probably a metal rocket launcher, not a wooden one. She'd probably be appreciative of that. Maybe a new bandana. Royal Delivery cannot be included. Skeleton Dragons, I don't know what Skeleton Dragons would want. Maybe like a chew toy. I don't know. I have a bad match with that. Electro Spirit. Probably just another suit of armor so it doesn't die the second it touches something. Electro Giant. Ooh, I really don't know what the Electro Giant would want. Maybe boxing gloves? Actually, yeah, maybe boxing gloves. And so that way he doesn't have to hurt his hands just like the Giant would be good. Mother Witch. I think the Mother Witch would actually want hogs, right? She turns people into hogs. She feels threatened. And then she loves being with hogs. So if you just got her a hog and then say, "Don't shoot me, I'm not gonna hurt you," she'd probably give you a hug. And yeah, you probably bake cookies with her or something. That'd be a perfect match. Goblin Drill is an inanimate object, can't use that. Golden Knight, honestly, if you give him praise, if you give him like hair dye to keep his hair yellow or his eyebrows golden, if you give him a new sword, new armor, he'd like that. But I think if you literally said like, "Wow, you are Jesus," forget about what's it called? Jesus wasn't born in Bethlehem. Jesus was born in Clash Royale, because that's you. He'd probably love that. So just give him praise. Just give him a ton of praise. He'd love that. Archer Queen, probably a new crossbow would be good. And also like some praise as well. She's the queen. So yeah, if you got her a new crossbow, she'd be content with that. She's a queen, so I feel like she'd be a humble person. So anything you give her, as long as you show praise and respect and honor, she'd like that a lot. Skeleton King, I don't know, maybe maybe the ability to be human again. Yeah, I'm gonna see if the witch can make the skeleton a human, Skeleton King human, and then maybe the Skeleton King is I don't know. Well, the thing is that you don't see the Barbarian King in Clash Royale. Like, where's the Barbarian King? You know, because Barbarian King and Archer Queen are supposed to be a thing. Maybe Barbarian King died in battle, and when the Skeleton King becomes a human, they are finally together. I don't know, but I think making the Skeleton King a human would be perfect. Um, Mighty Miner, just get him. Well, Mighty Miner won't even be available to actually receive your gift. He's gonna be way too busy doing drills and stuff. But I think we got him similarly to the miner, just a light, you know, a new helmet with light on it, and maybe a new drill. He'd like that a lot. I think that's a perfect match. Phoenix, probably some bird seed. Yeah, actually, if you give the Phoenix some bird seed, the Phoenix would probably love that a lot. Monk, I don't know what the monk would want. The monk is like thousands of years old. I don't really know what he would want. Actually, I think if you learned like some of his art forms, right? I assume the monk does martial arts, right? And in martial arts, you have all these different forms you have to do, and then to become the next rank, you have to do these performances. Um, so I think if you learned one of monk's like forms and you did that in front of him, I think he'd love that a lot. Um, but again, I'm not too sure. Little Prince, I don't. Little Prince is a spoiled brat. No matter what I give him, he's not going to be content with it. Nor does he deserve any presents from me. So, be a bad match. Um, Voice spells and animate. Goblin Demolisher, just get a bunch of firecrackers, and I think he'd be very content with that. That and gold. Because he's a goblin, so he'd probably love gold as well. So firecrackers and gold for the Goblin Demolisher. Goblin Curse cannot be included. I don't know if baby goblins really want gold at all, but I think if you give him machine parts for him to tinker with, a Lego set, get the goblin machine or baby goblin a Lego set, and they can start building and crafting with it. I think he would love that a lot, and because he's a baby, he's probably gonna love whatever you get him. Suspicious Bush is just a bush; you can't really give it anything. Goblinstein, I think if you gave Goblinstein like or I think you give him some like scalpels and other stuff that he can use. Maybe like an operating chair. I think that'd be perfect for him. Anything that he can use to continue his work, I guess. Rune Giant, I don't know, maybe a new hammer. I don't really know what the Rune Giant would want. Maybe runes, I guess. But runes aren't an available thing in Clash Royale. Berserker, I think you got Berserker new knives, I think, or axes. I think she'd appreciate that. Boss Bandit, tons and tons and tons and tons of gold. She is the queen of all the criminals. She just wants gold. I don't know what Spirit Empress would want. So it'd just be a bad match on either part. I have no clue. Vine spells inanimate. Tower troops, I know exactly what they would want. They'd want one of two things. They'd either want new ammunition, right? Or they would want a promotion, right? Think about that. They work for the king 24/7. They stay in their little tower. Maybe they want a promotion, possibly new ammunition, right? A new supply. Maybe even like a comfortable sitting chair, right? Or a little hammock they can stay in, you know, make the living space a bit more comfortable. I think all of them would love that. Um, yeah, would anything change with the Evos? I don't really think so. I think it would all just kind of be the same. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Honestly, I think for Book of Spells, I'm gonna change this. I think for Book of Spells, that would be perfect for the Wizard and the Witch. Because that would what's it called? They're wizards. They do sorcery. So that would make a lot of sense. For the witch, you throw in some stuff for the skeletons too. So yeah, I may have worded this video wrong. I feel like this is what they would want for Christmas, right? But realistically, I think it's kind of like what I would give them. But regardless, I think most of these are kind of on the dot. I mean, think about which wizard, Ice Wizard, they want Book of Spells. Pekka wants butterflies. Mini Pekka wants pancakes, right? All the goblins basically want gold. Same with the bandits, you know, the rascal and stuff. Miner would appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if the miner would want a new shovel for Christmas, but that would be the perfect gift to actually give the miner. But anyway, enough rambling on. So sorry for the rambling. If you guys agree or disagree or have any suggestions with this video, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it would truly help me out a lot. And as per usual, I hope you all have a great day, a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.